Thank you. It's a great honour to be here, and I'm so struck by the echoes that I'm hearing between all the different speakers. We have so much more in common, as Joe Cox said, so much more in common than divides us. So thank you for the invitation to be here, to learn about each other's faith and culture here in our super diverse city, where here in Birmingham we mostly rub along peacefully side by side, and I feel that Birmingham has a lot to teach the rest of the world about living together. So you may already know this. I've got a little bit of background about Judaism. Apologies if you know already that Judaism started 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. It's a monotheistic faith, just to one God. Jews don't pray to Jesus, although he started out Jewish. I say he was one of our boys. And so Christianity and Islam grew out of Jewish origins. And our holy book is the Torah scroll. And when I visited the Gurdwara near to me and I saw how the Guru Granth Sahib was treated with such reverence, it felt very familiar to me. The book itself is treated with such respect. So Jewish teaching, I would say that spirituality is expressed in action here now. We're encouraged to live as a good human being, to work for justice and peace, not to earn a place in heaven, but for the sake of the work. It's a small Jewish community in the UK, about 300,000 Jewish people. And in Birmingham, it's a tiny community. There are 3 or 4 synagogues, just a few hundred families. And I belong to the Progressive Synagogue. The other synagogues are Orthodox. And I know that you'll know that there are different communities within each faith community. We have a shared core of Judaism. We don't all do exactly the same things. I'm sure that's familiar to you. So progressive Judaism remains true to Judaism's core teachings, but brings it into the contemporary world. We take an inclusive approach. We emphasize equality. We've had women rabbis for the last 30 years. LGBTQ members are welcome and treated equally. We don't try to convert people. People can become Jewish if they really want to, but the numbers are very small. I and many other Jewish people in the community have family in Israel, Palestine, and I don't, and many of us don't agree with many of the actions of the current government of Israel. And I know that many of you will be familiar with the feeling of being held responsible for actions done in the name of your faith and community that you may not agree with. It seems to me that Palestinians want what Israelis want, which is a safe homeland and peace and autonomy. And you'll also be familiar with this, that when violence kicks off there, it has an impact on what happens here and how safe we might feel here. So here in Birmingham, in our super diverse city, our mixed community, it feels a very rich interfaith environment. And our synagogue plays an active part in interfaith community. Particularly at the moment, we're working to welcome refugees and asylum seekers. The Jewish community is made up of families who've migrated here, who were displaced historically. We've benefited from the contribution over decades of refugees who fled Hitler's persecution in Nazi Germany in the late 1930s, and the central Jewish teaching of welcome the stranger. And I know that Sikhism offers a warm welcome and hospitality similarly. So we welcome refugees and asylum seekers of all faiths and backgrounds, and we know that they will contribute to our national life. So I am a co-chair of Nisa Nashim West Midlands, a Muslim and Jewish women's grassroots organisation, which is part of a wider network around the UK. And we come together for friendship, for learning, for solidarity, campaigning, women's leadership. And we don't shy away from talking about some of the hard things where we differ, with honesty and with mutual respect. There are differences within the Jewish community and within and between Muslim communities. And again, I know this will be familiar to you. People assume there is just one Jewish opinion, one stance, but I know and you will know that's not the case. And I have learned how much it means when we stand together with our megaphone. We have a megaphone and we use it to speak out against Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, against violence against women and girls. And it seems very clear to me that all minorities, all faiths and non-LGBTQ people, refugees and asylum seekers, we need to stand together against intolerance and hatred and violence. And I'm glad that we've all been invited here so that we can learn more about each other's faiths and action. Recently, after the latest bloodshed and killings in Palestine and Israel, Nisan Hashim held a Zoom vigil. Muslim women read Islamic prayers for peace, and I read this prayer, which I'm going to leave you with, by Rabbi Nachman, who was a rabbi and teacher. He lived 1772 to 1810 in the Ukraine, where my family came from also, over 100 years ago. So this is Rabbi Nachman's prayer for peace. May it be your will, Holy One, our God, our ancestors' God, that you erase war and bloodshed from the world, and in its place draw down a great and glorious peace, so that nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Rather, may all the inhabitants of the earth recognize and deeply know this great truth, that we have not come into this world for strife and division, nor for hatred and rage, nor provocation and bloodshed. We have come here only to encounter you, eternally blessed one. And so we ask your compassion upon us. Raise up by us what is written, I shall place peace upon the earth, and you shall lie down safe and undisturbed, and I shall banish evil beasts from the earth, and the sword shall not pass through your land. But let justice come in waves like water, and righteousness flow like a river. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Holy One, as the waters cover the sea. So may it be, and we say, Amen. Thank you.